Ocean was one of the biggest software developers in the 80s and 90s and released some great movie licenses. Games such as Batman the Movie, The Untouchables, and arguably their biggest game, RoboCop, which stayed at #1 in the Spectrum charts for 18 months. However, some of Ocean's movie tie-ins didn't fare very well. One such game is that of Red Heat, based on the 1988 film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and James Belushi. The game was developed by software studio Special Effects and published by Ocean. So the first version we're going to look at is the Amiga version. It's probably the better version, better looking version. And one thing I noticed when I was younger, the film poster and the DVD has James Belushi with a cigarette, but on the version I had when I was younger, they've airbrushed it out, and also on the Amstrad box as well. Now, I've no idea why, but they've kept it in on the Amiga, and I think on the ST box as well, the Atari ST box. So why on earth would they keep it on the 16-bit, but not on the 8-bit? I mean, do they think kids are going to buy the 8-bit version and adults are going to buy the 16-bit version? I don't know. So anyway, let's have a look at Red Heat on the Amiga. So we've got a nice digitised photograph there, and a very bland title screen, and a very comical animated James Belushi. So as you can see, it's a side-scrolling beat-em-up, and the first thing you'll notice is the size of the gameplay area, and that's because it's set in a Russian sauna, and all the characters are naked, apart from a loincloth. So that does mean they can afford to have bigger sprites, more animated sprites. So obviously they didn't have to animate the characters' legs. And coming up is the first bonus stage, where you pick up a rock and you have to crush it. And I think from what I remember in the film, it's he gets handed a rock, like a hot stone, and he just crushes it in his hand. So you have to waggle the joystick left and right until the meter gets to the top and crush the stone. Now this bit's still on the first level. It's just outside the sauna, so you carry on the fight outside, and the only mode of attack is punch and headbutt, and your only defense is to crouch to avoid any projectiles and punches. And this is the second level, which is set in a hospital. And so now you've got your clothes back on and you've got a gun, but you don't start off with any ammo. And as you can see there, I've just completely ignored the bullets there, because I just thought it was part of the background. And there's a cupcake coming up. Not sure if Ivan Danko ate cupcakes in the film. One thing I noticed about the Amiga version is once you pick up an item, the icon still remains in the background, it doesn't disappear. There's some butch nurses there. In the film there was a guy, one of the bad guys, dressed as a nurse. Now this is the second bonus stage, where you've got to put together a torn up $100 bill. And you'll also notice about this game, there's no heads up display, so there's no score or how many remaining lives you've got. You've just got like a health bar that pops up every now and again in the top left corner. So next up is the one I had as a kid. I think it was 31 years ago, and that's the Commodore 64 version. And this is the version I had. I didn't have the original release. I just bought it on the Hit Squad because I don't think you could buy the original at the time. They'd already released it on the Hit Squad. So yeah, let's have a look at Red Heat on the Commodore 64. Right, so we've got a nice title screen there with some information scrolling across, and it's got a section at the bottom there of the third level, I think, which is the hotel. And again, the play window is like a widescreen effect, or in this case it's made to look like a film strip. Now you'll notice on the Commodore 64 version, he starts off on the left hand side of the screen walking right, whereas all the other versions starts off on the right side of the screen and walks left. I'm not entirely sure why they chose to do this for the Commodore 64. And also at the bottom you've got the words Red Heat, which are gradually changing to red, and I think that's just showing you how far you are from the end of the level, because I think the closer to the end of the level you get, the redder the letters are. And also you'll notice in the background there's no like naked people. They just haven't drawn any of the other characters in the background. And there we go, game over. I saw that screen quite a lot back in the day. Next up we've got Red Heat on the Amstrad. And this is the original release. This is like the big box release. So it came in a box where you can fit 2 tapes in, even though it's just the 1 tape. So it's got the tape there, and it's got the manual, and it's got a little advertisement there for other games from Ocean. So you've got, well, Ocean and Imagine. So you've got RoboCop, Renegade 3, and Run the Gauntlet. So let's have a look at Red Heat on the Amstrad. I've got a nice loading screen there. Sorry about the quality, I'm actually filming this on my Amstrad monitor. And this is the only music you actually hear in the game. And you'll see on the Spectrum as well, there's no music in game. So the gameplay window is a lot smaller than all the other versions. It's not as wide, but as you can see, it's a Spectrum port. And you've got the sprites of the characters in like a flesh colour. And again, there's no heads-up display apart from the energy bar in the top left corner. So yeah, this plays a little bit better than the Spectrum version. And again, you're walking from the right-hand side to the left. Now I think this first pickup doesn't actually do anything. It's not a bonus item, so it doesn't give you access to the bonus stage, and it doesn't replenish my health. And I've tried it a few times, and yeah, it doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't even give you any health. Now I was saying about the cigarette on the cover that's been removed. So they removed the cigarette from the front cover, but they've got digitized breasts in the background, like they've got men and women in the baths, in the sauna, all naked. So I'm not sure why they bothered to airbrush James Belushi's cigarette if they were going to leave topless ladies in the background. So that's Red Heat on the Amstrad. And finally, we're going to take a look at the Spectrum game. Now, unfortunately, I've ordered it on eBay, but it's not turned up yet, so I'm going to have to play it on an emulator on my original Xbox. So, like the Amstrad version, there's no in-game music. There's a little bit of music at the start when you're selecting your controls. We've got a little animation there, James Belushi I think it is, walking across the screen. Now this is the only version that actually has a heads-up display at the bottom, so it tells you how many lives you've got left, what level you're on, and your score. And I think the little space to the side of the score is for the later levels, when you get a gun, and it probably tells you how many bullets you've got left. Now this version is pretty difficult to dodge any of the projectiles or any of the bullets or the rocks, because it's monochrome and you can't really see in time. But the graphics are pretty detailed. Still is hard though, being cornered there by a couple of guys. Just fast forwarding this bit in a sec. There we go, to get to the bonus item. And as with the other versions, you waggle your joystick from left to right to build up your strength. But like I said, I was using a Xbox joystick D-pad, so it's quite hard using a D-pad as opposed to an actual joystick. So, there you have it. 4 versions of Red Heat. Is it a bad game? I'm like that because I like playing it, but it's frustrating as hell. And I feel now the same as I did 30 years ago. I like the game, I like the music, but it used to frustrate the hell out of me. So yeah, the best version for me is the Amiga version. Not just because of the better graphics and music, but when you die, it doesn't take you right back to the start of the level. It sort of, you start off where you left off. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!